Welcome to Cheers and Chow, where we explore how people cook, eat, and gather. This podcast is all about the stories, experiences, and connections that happen around food, whether it's in the kitchen, at the table, or beyond. I'm your host, Coco, and today's guest is someone incredibly special to me, my soul sister, my childhood best friend, and someone who just gets me. We've experienced so much life together, and the best part, we're just getting started. By day, Chuzi is a nurse and designer, bringing care, creativity, and deep empathy into everything she does. And when it comes to cooking, she describes her approach as experimental and mindful, which knowing her makes perfect sense. I can't wait to dive into her approach to food, cooking, and gathering. Chuzi, welcome to Cheers and Chow. To kick us off, maybe share with us, what does experimental and mindful cooking look like for you?
First, let me say I'm so happy to be here. It's so crazy to see this like in manifestation. Cope with somebody that this is like it's so her. Me personally, it's not something that I guess necessarily grew up thinking that I was good at. So I feel like every time I'm cooking, I'm still like learning because even when I see your dishes, obviously not to compare, but like you're obviously a chef. We call you Chef Coco. I think we called you that in high school growing up. We called you Chef Curry. And I've never been mad. I always had the idea that I want to cook for my family and be able to provide not just any meal, but nutritious meals. And obviously the whole eating out, not like spending so much money outside, cooking indoors and making sure that all my food is holistic. So that's where the experimental comes from, is the trial and error of every time I step into the kitchen, I know I'm going to have to learn something. Whether this recipe may not be perfect, I just know that I'm going to have to learn from it and then try again the next time I cook. Mindfulness part comes from obviously the holistic. I like to make sure that I'm feeding my body the nourishment that it needs and also like overeating, making sure that I'm not eating junk, things like that. So maintaining health as well as eating a delicious meal.
I actually really like the intentionality, especially around being holistic, right? Making sure that you're feeding yourself nutritious food. Obviously, we've grown up together, and I could definitely vouch for that. Like, you're always very health forward. And even when you're cooking, like, it's always balanced. You have clean protein, you have your vegetables. And I do remember you talking about how you want to create this for your children. And I think that's really awesome. Okay. So, how do you decide what to cook? Like, for you, is it something that you plan ahead? Do you improvise, or is it just somewhere in between?
I feel like it's somewhere in between. I do like to kind of have an idea. I want to maintain the aspect of planning ahead so that I don't feel like I'm doing it last minute because I feel like obviously with the busy schedule and things like that, I want to be able to make sure that I am being able to plan before cooking my meals, whether it be meal prep, whatever the case may be. But also I like the spontaneity of it. We're pretty close. So I actually end up just texting Coco and I'm like, hey, should I have this or this? Like the soul sister part is very on brand because I feel like even when I text you those questions, I kind of know what my body is, I guess, desiring to have. But I'm like, okay, let me ask her and see what I should have. Let's get an opinion. And 9 times out of 10, you always end up picking what I actually was planning on making and listening to my body. Like, I try not to be too hard on myself. Sometimes I can plan to cook and I realized that my day was just so stretched out that I actually can't cook that meal that I wanted to cook. And maybe I'm desiring something a little bit different. So giving my body the leeway to like actually decide what it wants to eat as well. So that's something like is important.
That sounds like it flows, especially being a nurse. I can only imagine the thought that goes into it. You're a nurse, your schedule is wildly different than someone who has a 9 to 5. How do you actually balance what you want to eat, maybe how you're trying to cook something after you come home from work?
So it took me a while to get the schedule going as to like how I actually want to eat when it comes to the days I have 12-hour shifts. At first, I found myself just flowing a little too much to where there was imbalance. I would eat out more. Even if it was like salad, I would still go spend money to go get a salad after work because I was too tired. Then I started slowly progressing. Let me try to eat breakfast in the morning, like a little quick breakfast, and then go to work and maybe eat something at work or eat like a light snack. When I first started working the shifts, I didn't actually really eat much on shifts. I would go 12 hours without eating anything. But now I'm at a space where I actually am learning to meal prep. And then I try to eat my dinner, I guess, on shift because I get off at 7. And I've noticed that like getting home around 8, 9, and then eating that late, especially with heartburn and things like that, it's really just not good. So I try to eat my main meals while I'm at work. And then when I get home, mostly I'm having like a snack or something like that, is what I'm transitioning to. Meal prepping has been something that I'm learning to now do because it does make much of a difference. And then eating and not like laying down right after because you're tired from work. So meal prepping has been something that helped me a lot with my 12-hour shifts. And I recommend for anybody else who is a nurse or just in healthcare, meal prepping because it makes our life so much easier. And then on top of that, like really you don't have time to be just cooking. Things like overnight oats is good. You could just grab it, eat it before shift, and then go about your day.
Now that you're in this space, you're being able to take advantage of meal prepping. I really love to hear the fact that you've identified, oh, I need to eat my heavier meal during the day while I'm on shift. That way, when I come home, it's just something light. Maybe what's a tip that you can share for others who, where meal prepping is kind of like that interesting space? What's something that you've learned along the way?
When I meal prep and I'm still kind of getting a hang of it. Like this week, I meal prepped and it didn't really last me like tomorrow at work. I don't really have a meal prepared yet. So I have to think of simple things to put together. For breakfast, I may have a boiled egg, which I can cook right before going to work, like putting it on the stove while I'm getting dressed, which may be a safety hazard. So take that with a grain of salt. What I try to do is at least make sure that I'm getting my fibers, at least make sure that I'm getting my proteins, whether it's a protein shake, granola bar, and some fruits, or protein shake, smoothie, whatever the case may be. We're human, and I'm trying not to put so much pressure on myself that I have to make sure my meals are always aesthetically pleasing. Eating is about nourishing the body, and however that looks. Long story short, is not having the pressure to say, like, I need to have a meal. Like when I open up my lunchbox, I need to see rice, quinoa, this. Sometimes it's just like gathering things that fulfill the nutrition that you like, obviously that you enjoy, that your body needs.
Ooh, that's really good, actually. One thing that I heard stood out to me is just simplicity might be a great place to start, right? You could have an overarching goal, kind of like what you were describing, the quinoa, the aesthetically pleasing kind of thing. I could also see that being very overwhelming for someone who's just like getting into that meal prepping space. Is there like a particular dish or ingredient that always sparks creativity for you?
My go-to is literally always salmon. So one thing I do like about salmon though is that it can spark creativity, even creating like sauces. I think you were the one that put me onto like salmon bowls. And I used to get my salmon without the skin. I no longer do that because you taught me the crisp salmon skin, which whoever's watching this definitely try. Kudos to Coco for telling me that. I think it sparks creativity because there's so many ways you can do it. Even just looking up on Pinterest and seeing there's people who smush salmon, put it in rice and make a little like rice salmon bowl. And then picking a vegetable, I feel like is always fun because it's like, oh, am I gonna have broccoli today? Am I gonna have zucchini? Am I gonna have squash? There's just so many ways to mix and match it. And also, I may just be biased because I love salmon, but
This girl really loves
yeah.
it, y'all.
If all that's all I had to eat, I am literally okay.
She loves it so much that no matter where we go, whatever restaurant, as long as salmon is on the menu, she's getting salmon.
Okay. Yeah. I'm straight.
What would you say the role of intuition plays in your cooking?
I sometimes, which can kind of get me in trouble, but it's okay. Like I said, that's the whole experimental part. I intuitively add my seasonings, which is something that I've learned. Nothing against like Black culture, but growing up in Africa and Black culture, we tend to use a lot of seasonings, and we call like less seasoning Caucasian, which I don't really believe in because even when I'm saying it's a like scrambled eggs, I actually prefer minimal salt. I actually prefer things that are like not as seasoned and overwhelming. I would say I intuitively add like certain things. Sometimes I won't measure out the rice. I'll just go as how I feel like my body wants to, like maybe half a cup of rice or maybe a cup of rice. I would say like how I measure things down. I just kind of intuitively like, okay, that's enough salt, that's enough this. I just kind of let my body flow a little bit, which sometimes get me in trouble because this morning I made oatmeal and it was a little bit heavy handed, but it was okay. I learned.
Just like you said, you learn. It is a different approach to going about cooking, but it's something that I find beauty in because you also get to learn that way. For example, your oatmeal, you taste it and it's like, okay, whatever I did there, like that was maybe a bit too much. And so it just informs your cooking process for the next time you're about to cook that thing.
Literally.
Anytime I'm making rice, it's just like eyeball.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes it's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna pour the rice in the pot," and then I know it just needs to have, like, that much water above it, and like I'll cook it and
Oh
then
my goodness.
open the pot, it's like this much rice. Yeah, that's crazy. You live and you learn. That's the whole point, right? It going off of intuition. And I think the thing with that or where it can get you caught up is let's say you're cooking off of intuition and then taste that food and it's like, wow, this is like way salty and like
And when you're trying to be different, you just add a new flavor and you're like, maybe we won't be doing that again.
maybe share with us, like, how does being mindful show up in the way you eat and experience food? I know earlier you talked a lot about like nourishing the body, making sure that you're eating the proper ingredients for yourself. What else comes to mind?
Reading the labels is good, but I try not to obsess over what's on the label. I try to be mindful without obsessing. Let's use caffeine as an example. We say that caffeine is bad, but a little bit of caffeine is actually healthy. So just keeping the mindset that obviously I don't want to overconsume. Too much of everything is a bad thing. Too little of anything is also a bad thing. So I try to keep mindfulness and I want to make sure I'm eating fiber today. This week I feel like my gut health may need a little bit of boost. So I'll say, okay, let me start eating a little bit more bars with more fiber or finding supplements. I noticed that I like this food, but it may not be as healthy. Let me try to find a substitute. Things like that. And I feel like a lot of times too, when I'm cooking, I'm honestly thinking about, okay, how do I feel this week? What is something that I feel like I need to, like, okay, if my bowels weren't moving as good, and I know that made me TMI, but my bowels weren't moving as good. Maybe this week I need to eat more vegetables and add more broccoli. Or maybe this week I need to actually start finding granola bars with a little bit more fiber. And you'll learn that as you go shopping and look for things with more fiber, you'll find, oh, actually, I find my favorite bar. So just things like that, honestly, is where I become mindful. And then sometimes, honestly, just learning throughout your like life. Sometimes I just randomly feel the urge to Google what are good foods to eat. I like to run. So I'll say, what is good food to eat before runs? Or what is a good meal to eat? And even if I'm not looking it up to cook right away, that information is good knowledge to use moving forward. And obviously, we have things like resources like TikTok, Instagram. They have an abundance of different things that you can incorporate even as you're learning through scrolling. So I just kind of pick up information as I go and then listen to my body.
It sounds like it's something that is passive yet action driven. You have this awareness of, okay, I just consumed this thing, or looking at the week, this is how I felt. And so maybe I want to feel different, or I realize I need to actually boost this particular area in my body. So I need to eat this thing.
Mhm.
I'm actually curious because you do come from a nursing background where science and all those things really play a role into health. Like, how has that actually influenced what you decide to put in your mouth based on your own studies?
It's not real until it gets real. And that's the honest truth of not obsessing over it, but understanding that health now is important. So you don't want to wait because I've seen patients where they have amputated limbs, they stay in hospitals for a long period of time, even like labors, these are labors because of somebody who invested into their body. I'll even meet people in general. Like my patient, her mother looks amazing at the age of 45. I literally thought she was 20 something.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, what do you do? Mind you, she doesn't even exercise. That's the thing. Everybody thinks that it's just one side of diet takes you honestly a very long way because things like diabetes, hypertension, stroke, it's not something that you would think upon yourself until it becomes a real reality. I didn't realize how we get a lot of patients with diabetes. I didn't realize how many people actually have diabetes. And not just, oh, I have diabetes, because sometimes we think it's just like, oh, diabetes, I just take medication. But a lot of people have their limbs cut off from diabetes. So just having that awareness that these little things that we think may be not as big and when it comes to diet and things like that. I love sweets. So that's something that I'm still working on. But I have the awareness that I genuinely don't want diabetes for myself and I do want to be the healthiest that I can be for my kids. So having that in the forefront of my mind, these things are actually real. Seeing it in the hospital, seeing how it affects others. Some people become an example for what you decide to change in your life. I need to go through it to learn. I actually have seen it with my two eyes that this is actually something that's very important. And so I just kind of try to keep that in mind at least.
I think you just dropped a lot of gems for us right there. You're right. Even through my own journey, it's finding the right balance. I love the sweets. It's really hard and it doesn't have to be hard, but it's also being aware, like long term, what does that look like? It starts to show up in different places, whether it's like your dental health, acne. It's good to just be aware of the things that you're putting into your body and how that's going to affect you, whether it's right now or in the future. Are there any meals or particular ingredients or snacks, fruit, vegetables that feel restorative to you, whether that's like physically or emotionally?
I would say that I am a sucker for a good granola bar. I feel like granola bars are like a cheat sheet. I like to run a lot, run about 7 miles. And
Wow.
sometimes I bring fruit snacks with me to go on my runs because sometimes your body needs glucose. That's what I mean about balancing. There's diabetes that obviously the overconsumption from your diet, but there's also people who have diabetes where they don't process insulin. So they actually need to carry a bag of candy so that when their glucose gets too low, they can eat a piece of candy and feel better. That's what I say about the balance because the stigma is that candy is bad, but some people use candy as a medicinal way to feel better. I kind of look at what my body needs and say, okay, if I feel like I'm low on glucose, I'll bring fruit snacks to my run and I'll eat that. And honestly, it makes me feel like I can run, which sounds silly, but it makes me feel like I can run 10 more miles. I would say granola bars are like something that when I find a good granola bar, it's game over. I can eat that and feel amazing. That and protein bars because I can't do the shakes. There's only one protein bar that I found that I can actually eat, but me, I'm more of a granola person. So let me just say granola bars. I think it was you who put me on to Kind bars again because I used to eat it before,
Yes, kind
but now I
bar.
eat more of it. Kind bars are amazing and they have so much fiber. But yeah, I would say granola bars are like a good way to that and juices, cold pressed.
Is there a particular food or snack that always brings you joy? I think I have an idea, but let the people know.
Salmon, little broccoli. I've been enjoying sweet potatoes a lot lately and popcorn as a snack, which I haven't eaten as much just because it gets in your teeth, which is the downside. It's so annoying because it's such a good snack. That and the granola bars, but salmon is always top.
There's another one.
Pomegranate seeds. Pomegranate seeds. I'm sorry, I'm yelling on here. If you have never had pomegranate seeds, I urge you. Trader Joe's, Whole Foods has some really good ones. Don't eat the Walmart ones. And sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. But don't eat the Walmart ones and don't eat the Kroger ones because they're not good. But Whole Foods and Trader Joe's has amazing pomegranate seeds. I live for pomegranate seeds.
I mean, we'd like have packs of them and just like scoops of like, what are you up to? Oh, just eating pomegranate seeds.
The thing could be this big and I would eat it in under 5 minutes. I like sweets. I like candy. And I feel like pomegranate seeds is the closest thing to healthy candy that's just fruit. Watermelon's cool. I eat it with lime and it tastes really good. Watermelon and lime, it's great. But pomegranate seeds, it's fun. I feel like the crunch, some people spit out the seeds, but to each his own. If you've seen pomegranate seeds, they're like this small. I feel like it would take me forever to spit out the seeds. And that's where all the fiber is in pomegranate seeds. But I feel like it's because it's so fun and it just tastes like candy to me, but fruit.
I will say, from a fruit perspective, they are definitely very reliable. You know that when you have it, like it's going to be packed with that flavor. It's like, oh, this is like fruit should taste like.
Juicy.
Those strawberries, though, at the farmer's market over here.
Oh my gosh, why was I literally just talking to my friend? He was like, "You want to get strawberries?" I was like, "Yeah, you can get some strawberries," but he's like, "So the strawberries are just so disappointing because like, it's always a hit or miss." And I'm like, "Look, after I had some strawberries at Coco's in Cali, I just can't enjoy all the same." I literally like they should do an international. I don't even know how they would set that up, but they should just go global because I literally to this day think about that fruit.
So good. Yeah. After discovering it and then having it, like, even if I get a pack of strawberries anywhere other than from there, there's just no point because it's like, just can't be beat.
I've never tasted strawberries like that in my life.
So, why don't we go ahead and explore the way you gather around food? So, this is like you enjoying food with others, friends, family. What does sharing a meal with others mean to you?
Honestly, I love breaking bread with people that I love. And I don't even know if it's more so about the food. There's something about eating with someone somebody, and then conversations that come with just eating at a dinner table. I will say it took me a while to get to a point where I liked eating with people because I used to eat with my family and the conversation that we had weren't always enjoyable. So I had a bad stigma or connotation to it. But when you would curate these, what's the word I'm looking for, moments where we would gather as girls and just have like food and games and it's just laughs and music and things like that, especially when it's like a good meal, a meal that's not even that heavy, to be honest. I actually like eating with people and not having like a heavy meal because I get tired and I don't want to get tired and I'm having fun. It's just like the people when it's good vibes and good conversations. And even sometimes you'll see like how if you're having a good conversation, you slow down the eating a little bit more too, just taking bites. And that's how you know it's like a good dine and what you call cheers and chow.
That's so true though. Like when you're around other people and there's food, whether it's like a formal dinner party or just like a casual gathering, maybe have bites here and there, but the focus isn't the food per se. It's really everything else around the food. Is there any like favorite traditions or rituals when it comes to food and gathering?
I've not gotten to where I pray over food before I eat. Something that's really close to me is my faith. And I believe that, even when it goes to, and I'm not trying to get biblical here, but even when it goes to the Last Supper, when Jesus broke bread before he went on the cross, it just shows the essence of communing with people and eating with them at the same time to build relationships and things like that. Because at the end of the day, we're really just building community and community through eating, even just praying with each other and connecting on that level, even if you don't believe necessarily in Jesus, just to be able to share the faith with somebody and say, oh, who's going to bless the food? Can I bless the food that we're eating? And just show appreciation and gratitude as a unit or as a community that this food made it to our table and that it is going to nourish our body and that it is clean and that it is something that we are grateful for. So I would say that's something that I've gotten a tradition of doing is like praying over the food. Sometimes I'll say like, who wants to pray? Somebody else pray or somebody else bless the food. So being able to share that faith before we eat and that gratitude.
That's really special. Is there a particular memory around food or a story that you can share that just, I don't know, just brings a smile to your face?
This is gonna actually sound really bad. But there was a time period, which I don't even know why this would bring a smile to my face. Literally almost died, but okay. Because my mom was cooking this beef. I can't even remember what food it was. And I was little. And at that time I was infamous for like I would be the one that picks out all the meat and it would like be who ate all the meat and it would always be me. But she was cooking and I took a piece of meat. She went on it, she went on it, she went on it for a pretty long time. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of chewing. I'm gonna swallow, and I choked. Literally for the first time, like when I tell you full on choke, and I tried to drink water because I didn't want my mom to be mad at me. So I tried to drink water, and long story short, my mom had to do some Heimlich maneuver. But when I think about it to this day, it's funny because it just reminds me of the child's interaction with food, just when children get around food. But that just brings a smile to my face. And like I said, I don't know why. And the moments that we would have eating with cocoa, I feel sorry for people who have not experienced it because I cannot even find words to explain how it's always just a good time. Literally, it's literally always a good time. That's honestly the best way I could explain it. It's always just vibes, always just smiley, and it always is just like empowering. Honestly, we only ever have empowering conversations, and it's always like masked off, transparent, but not to a point where you leave feeling like a weight. You leave feeling actually like lighter, like wow, I appreciate community. I appreciate having girls around me that are here for me and sticking by my side and just are here for a good time. And honestly, even when we eat and we talk about our future goals and our dreams and things like that, it's always a vibe. It's always a vibe. So I'll say those two moments as well. Eating with Co. Because I think I would always be like, you cooking? Co's cooking? Co, you cooking? Eating with Co, honestly, is 10 out of 10.
Whether we're eating at the house or going out, like I would say probably one of my favorite memories with you around food had to have been those last couple of months when I was in Texas and like you'd be over all the time and you'd be like,
Yes.
are we going to Fish City Grill?
Oh my goodness. What is that little cocktail? The little cocktail that I always used to get. Can't
Oh
remember, but
gosh.
they would fill it to the brim. You literally have to squeeze,
Wait,
squeeze, squeeze,
did it
squeeze.
have, like, lemon in it?
Yeah.
I don't remember the name, but I do remember the cocktail. We would just go there and, like, literally just hang out.
And creating and eating, what we used to create. That's why I said this platform is so cool because she can make an experience out of just eating, like having food there, but bringing people together, bring a community together, and just like vibing. Literally, I'm trying to use a better word than vibing, but that's honestly the word that I had.
I have tried so many times to avoid saying the word vibe because I feel like there's gotta be another word, but then, like, when you try to think about it, it's like,
Yeah,
that
like
is the word.
you
Like,
ready?
it's just vibes. Really appreciate the compliments. Cooking, especially for others, has always been something that just brings me so much joy. And I think the best part is when I can cook for my friends. I think there was one time I made like this chicken and zucchini pasta, and like you really liked it. And I was
So
like, wow, okay.
good.
This one's actually pretty fun because I'm quite curious how you're going to respond to this. So, if you could design the perfect dinner experience, think dinner party, from the setting to the people at the table, what would that look like?
That is so interesting. There's so many ways that I could approach that. First of all, first thing that comes to me is clothes. Designer clothes. There was one time I think I was at a museum and I was like, it'd be cool to have people kind of like how our museums are, but people in these like really, really crazy, like one of one designs made by, and it may not even have to be like Chanel or Gucci, but just somebody who's maybe like a low key designer, but really, really talented, and just be surrounded by those different types of clothes. The thing is with that is that you don't want to get the food on the clothes because as a designer, I'm cringing, but as like an experience, it sounds good. Just to be surrounded by that, mixing creative things, creative pieces with eating is something that I would say sounds like something that would be an amazing experience. However, it may be whether drinking wine and looking around at these creative designs by different creators that maybe low-key creators, but just looking around or having little finger foods and maybe encasing the designs with something so that it doesn't get dirty. But you know, you're still allowed the freedom to move and be fluid. You can either sit or you can move around and look at the pieces, things like that. I would say is something that would be a great experience. Or if you're at a show, you're at a fashion show and there's people coming around with different like finger foods, maybe like a mini sample of this thing, or just having like different culture foods like come around. They give you a rundown. This food is actually from here. This is a sample of this type of food. That's all. Honestly, so many ways you could approach that. I'm curious to hear you answer that actually.
Okay, before I answer, you have the option to invite whoever you want. Who are your top 3 people? Like, literally no one's off the table.
Okay. Well, obviously you. I know his name sounds so bad. I really like Kanye. Kanye, because I love his mind, not even just when it comes to clothes, but just his mind in general. Even though it may be a little bit controversial, I just like his mind. And I feel like I would just take a lot away.
Who's getting that 3rd seat?
This is so hard. I have so many people. Between the creative directors, designers, I will say Tyler, the
I
creator.
knew it.
He's always somebody that will pay homage to because I love the way he really brings you on this journey. Even if it's a fictional story, a fictional character, he would really personify that, bring you on to this and make it a realistic, so real that you feel like this is like you're in it. You're in this movie. So I love the way that he tells. Dang, I should have said for real. But right when he's dead.
RIP. Yeah.
Why did I not say Virgil? Actually, I'm gonna replace. I'm so sorry. Tyler the Creator. I'm gonna scratch him and put Verge because it has to be Verge. I'm so sorry. It has to be Verge because I feel like him. And this may sound cliche, whatever the case may be, but from looking at Virgil's like work, I feel like somebody that I could really see myself as who I aspire to be, who actually like executed it to the closeness that it needs to be executed is Verge. So I'll say Kanye and Verge, which sounds very like cliche.
Verge is a huge inspiration in your life. life. So he definitely deserves a
Yes.
seat at the table.
Coming straight from heaven.
And so you want to know what my perfect meal experience would be. I've been thinking about this, but not from the lens of the ultimate perfect meal experience, more like a place where I could start. It would sound really fun being able to just like host people on the rooftop. You've had the opportunity to see the rooftop. It's beautiful. There's a lot of space. And to me, what I see is dinner at sunsets, where the sun is coming down, the sky is beautiful. What I imagine is curating the experience for close friends, but then also curating experience for people who want to come together, meet new people, have nice conversations, and just connect. I see like nice plating, minimal, but really like elegant decor, nothing too over the top. And it would be nice in this experience. I am not only the chef, but like I DJ and I also make
Mhm.
cocktails. That is definitely a meal experience where I would like to start. Maybe that's the evolution of where this whole thing goes. But I think it'd be so much fun. Like dinner's at the rooftop.
Like pick your 3 people.
Ooh, okay, obviously you, Rihanna,
I knew you were gonna say that.
like, absolutely she's there. The third person is actually tricky.
Exactly. Creating a list is gonna be hard.
Nothing against, like, family, but it's like
Yeah, no. I mean, I love them, but like, yeah, you're just not.
I feel like
I
that's,
don't
like,
know what to.
understood, like, they're already
Yeah, yeah.
in there, right?
Like if I had to see, you're definitely gonna be there.
Okay, I got it. So it would be you, Rihanna, and I guess if we're having to think about, like, celebrity influencer level type of people, let's just clarify for the audience, like,
Yeah.
friend, love you. I would actually love to invite Anya Taylor-Joy to my dinner party because she is just
Mm.
beautiful. I love every movie she's acted in, and when I see images of her, it's like I see something in myself or something that, like, I aspire to be. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I would definitely love to invite her to the dinner party.
Anya, if you're watching this, send my girl a message so you can get on this. Cheers and Chow.
Before we wrap up, I have a little something extra for you. This is a
Mhm.
segment that I like to call Off the Menu. It's going to be a quick round of fun, unexpected food related questions. So the rules are no overthinking, just go with your gut and say the first thing that comes to mind. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, let's go. Sweet or savory?
Sweets.
Okay. The best meal you've ever had and where?
uh, so far, Italian. The first thing I think of is that Lombardi restaurant. Pasta was really, really good.
Still never been there, but I'm so glad you went.
So good. It's so good.
Would you rather over season or never season at all?
Never season again. I can't stand overseasoned food. It's just not. If I had to throw all the season away, I'm okay with that.
What's in your fridge right now that you should probably throw away?
I don't know why I always buy more vegetable, and I'm like, I'm gonna cook on this vegetable, and then a week goes by, and I'm like, okay, gotta throw it away. So there's probably some cilantro that needs to be thrown away, and zucchini, plenty enough.
Go-to meals after a long day. It's a whisper for me. Did you guys hear that?
Salmon, if it's like readily available. I mean, salmon honestly takes 5 minutes to cook, so I'll say salmon.
You have 5 minutes to make a meal. What's
Can
on
y'all
the
answer
plate?
this one? Salmon.
She literally said it takes 5 minutes to make.
5 minutes, salmon. Salmon, broccoli, and maybe some fruit. Not maybe, pomegranate seeds. I don't even know if that goes together.
If your cooking style was a song, what would it be?
I don't know why my mind went straight to Amazing Grace.
I think we know the answer to this. I'm actually kind of curious. One food or fruit or snack you'd eat for the rest of your life.
Salmon and pomegranate seeds.
A food you refuse to eat.
Avocados.
You just had to bring it up.
Y'all, yes, and we're actually, you know what? I can't be the only one because I know avocado toast is a thing. I know that we're normalizing avocados. Granted, I've only tasted avocado once, and that's enough. Avocados and bananas are two things that I refuse. There was a time period, and I'm gonna sound crazy. Somebody had told me, and maybe it was I researched it. There is potassium in the peel of a banana. There was a time period I was eating the peel, taking bites of the peel rather than the banana, because I just refused to eat the banana. But just the texture of it is just a no for me. So yeah, I'm gonna say avocados. Sorry, bestie. This is where we don't see eye to eye.
For those obviously who need to dive deep into our friendship, this is probably the one thing where we have a very sharp difference. Most of the things we like agree and rely on, but the thing with the avocado, it's that it's a hard no. And you were here and I like tried to get you to try it and you were just like, no.
No, that like it's just a no. I'm sorry, y'all. I know these are two things that girls love, but like I just can't do it.
Hey, it's part of the aesthetic.
Avocado toast looks so like when I see people make it, I'm like, oh, this girl is got her life together. But then I'm like, avocado toast is nasty, and I mean, I could make it, post it on Instagram, and throw it away. Because I just won't be eating that.
Okay, and last question. What's a weird food combo you secretly love?
And this is another thing we don't see eye to eye on. I will eat sit and eat raisins.
Will you have it with anything else or just raisins by themselves?
Raisins by themselves, a weird combo that I secretly like. I like to eat cereal with hot milk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you actually like walk us through that?
I first pour my milk, and I know it's controversial, cereal before milk. It's always milk first, then cereal, because if you pour the cereal first, then hot microwave the milk, the cereal becomes soggy. So I microwave my milk, and I put the cereal in. You have to eat it right after because obviously leave it out, it'll get soggy. But some cereals, it's okay to get soggy. Like Fiber One, it's okay because it still tastes good. But some cereals, you obviously want to eat it. But yeah, I do hot milk and cereal. I can't do cold milk and cereal. I just cannot do it. I will gag. I will gag.
Milk before the cereal.
And it has to be hot, steaming.
Chuzi, I just want to say this conversation was a lot of fun. And thank you so much for actually sharing your knowledge and insight with us. I hope the listeners listening or watching will find this very insightful. Hopefully, it'll spark creativity and also take an experimental and mindfulness approach to their cooking. Chuzi, where can people connect with you and your work?
My LinkedIn is Chuzi Ojukwu. Instagram is _. So FORCHUBYCHU_.
Is there a certain project or something that you're looking forward to?
It's on the hush for now, but I will be dabbling into a little more. It won't be my own collection, but I will be assisting a collection to come.
Thank you so much for joining Cheers and Chow. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe. Cheers.